Have you ever wondered what secrets lie buried with the great empires of the past? We see their magnificent ruins, read about their legendary rulers, and marvel at their achievements. But beneath the polished veneer of history, there are darker, more unsettling stories. Today we're pulling back the curtain to reveal the darkest secrets of ancient empires. Let's start with Rome, the empire that gave us aqueducts, roads, and laws. But Rome also had a gruesome obsession with spectacle. The gladiatorial games in the Colosseum were more than just entertainment. They were a display of power and a tool for social control. Imagine tens of thousands of people cheering as men fought to the death, or as exotic animals were slaughtered for sport. Historians estimate that hundreds of thousands of lives, both human and animal, were extinguished in these arenas. But it gets even darker. The Romans practiced something called damnatio ad bestias, or condemnation to beasts, a form of execution where criminals and prisoners of war were thrown defenseless into an arena with starving lions or bears. It was a brutal, terrifying end, designed to be a public lesson in Roman authority. Beyond the Colosseum, the lives of many Romans were steeped in harsh realities. Slavery was the bedrock of the Roman economy. It's estimated that at its peak, as much as 1/3 of Italy's population was enslaved. These individuals had no rights. They were considered property, to be bought, sold, and used at their owner's whim. Their labor built the grand monuments we admire today, but their suffering is a part of that story that is often overlooked. They worked in dangerous mines, toiled on vast agricultural estates, and served in wealthy households, often facing brutal treatment with no legal recourse. The very foundation of Roman luxury was built on the backs of millions who lived and died in bondage. Now, let's journey to ancient Egypt, the land of pharaohs and pyramids. We picture a mystical civilization obsessed with the afterlife. And they were, but this obsession had a grim side. The earliest pharaohs didn't journey into the afterlife alone. Archaeological evidence from the First Dynasty, around 3000 BC, reveals a horrifying practice: retainer sacrifice. When a pharaoh died, his closest servants, court officials, and even beloved pets were ritually killed and buried alongside him in subsidiary tombs. The idea was that they would continue to serve their king in the next world. Imagine being a loyal servant, whose reward for a life of service was a violent death to accompany your master into the afterlife. Thankfully, this practice was eventually replaced with the use of shabby dolls, small figurines that were believed to magically come to life and serve the deceased. But for a time, the path to the Egyptian afterlife was paved with human sacrifice. The Egyptians were also masters of medicine for their time. But their knowledge had its limits, and their attempts to cure ailments could be bizarre and dangerous. Medical papyri reveal remedies that sound more like a witch's brew: eye infection. The prescription might be a paste made from bat's blood, a splinter. The recommended treatment was a poultice of worm's blood and donkey dung. While they had some surprisingly effective techniques like setting broken bones, many of their treatments were based on magic and superstition. Relying on these cures likely led to more infections and suffering than actual healing. It's a stark reminder that even in a civilization renowned for its intellect, life was fragile, and a simple infection could be a death sentence. Let's cross the Atlantic to the Aztec Empire in Mesoamerica. A civilization known for its sophisticated cities and complex cosmology, but the Aztec worldview was fueled by a constant and terrifying need: human sacrifice. The Aztecs believed their gods, particularly the sun god Huitzilopochtli, required a steady diet of human hearts and blood to keep the sun rising each day. Without it, they believed the world would be plunged into eternal darkness. This belief led to sacrifice on an industrial scale. The primary victims were prisoners of war, captured in ritualistic battles known as flower wars, which were fought specifically to obtain captives for sacrifice. At the dedication of the Great Pyramid of Tenochtitlan, historical accounts claim that tens of thousands of people were sacrificed over just 4 days. Victims were led to the top of the temple, their chests cut open with an obsidian blade, and their still-beating hearts were ripped out and offered to the gods. Their bodies were then thrown down the steep temple steps. This wasn't a hidden secret. It was the empire's most public and important ritual, a terrifying display of religious fervor and state power that held their society together through fear and faith. Finally, let's travel to the vast Mongol Empire, the largest contiguous land empire in history. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan and his successors, the Mongols were masters of psychological warfare. Their reputation for utter brutality was a weapon in itself. When the Mongols laid siege to a city, they would often offer a choice: surrender and live, or resist and be annihilated. And they meant it. Cities that resisted were subject to unimaginable horror. In cities like Samarkand and Herat, historical accounts describe massacres where the entire population, men, women, and children, was systematically slaughtered. The Mongols would sometimes build pyramids out of the skulls of their victims as a chilling monument to their conquest. This wasn't just random violence. It was calculated terror. The goal was to spread fear so intense that other cities would surrender without a fight. This strategy was brutally effective, allowing a relatively small number of Mongol warriors to conquer a vast portion of the known world. The secret to their rapid expansion wasn't just their military skill. It was their willingness to use terror as a primary tool of war, leaving a legacy of death and destruction that echoed for centuries. From the blood-soaked sands of the Colosseum to the sacrificial temples of the Aztecs, the great empires of the past were built on foundations far darker than we often imagine. These secrets don't diminish their incredible achievements, but they give us a more complete and more human picture of our history. They remind us that power often comes at a terrible cost. What do you think is the darkest secret from history? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the shadows of the past, make sure to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.